Hello everyone, welcome to the first video of my new series, AK Upgrades. In this series I'll be upgrading a Romac 992 chambered in 545. In this first video I'm going to be replacing the standard stock pistol grip with an ATI X1 grip, which I used to have one, but as you can see in the footage I'm putting up on the screen now, it was beige, and so I ended up getting rid of it because it didn't match with the rest of the gun, but I ended up buying another one because it works pretty well. It's a very comfortable grip, so I would definitely recommend it. Very comfortable. And future upgrades, I'm going to be probably installing an AK M4 stock adapter. I haven't decided if I want a folding one or a fixed one. I've heard a lot of good reviews about the Rifle Dynamics AK M4 stock adapter, but it would be nice to have a folding stock, so I've been looking into different options there. Zenitco B10M lower handguard. That is very high on the priority list, and as I mentioned earlier about Zenitco parts, that is specifically the one I had intended to start the series off with, but it kind of fell through. Then after that, I plan on installing a Zenitco B33 top cover, and that will probably be it. So, without further ado, let's get started on installing this pistol grip. Alright, so getting started here, you can see I've already got the gun disassembled. It's because I've tried to do about 20 takes. And I was way too much of a perfectionist, but then I was like, you know what, I'm not going to reassemble it. So we're just going to go from here. Obviously the gun is clear, it is fully disassembled. Even if it was loaded, it wouldn't be able to go off. So I have this disassembled because I want to be able to get to the grip screw, which you can see here, because I want to hold that in place when I take out the old handguard, so I don't have to try to get that thing back into place when it falls out, which is a bit of an awkward angle, but here we go. Well, I was unscrewing that way longer than I needed to, but that is off. So now I'm going to get the other grip out. Comes in a package like this. Comes with some instructions, which I'm not even going to bother showing on the video, and comes with 2 screws for the back plate, and also 1 big screw to actually go in the gun, which is the one I just uninstalled, as well as another of these holder parts, which I can't remember the name of right now, but I'm just going to use the one already in the gun because it works. There's no point in replacing it. As I said, it's already in place. I don't need to deal with trying to get it in place. So I am going to get these out of here. Okay, so I had to make a quick cut there because I ended up having to go and grab a hex key, which I would have benefited from reading the instructions because it said I needed one in there, but I never read it, so I wouldn't have known that. So now that I have that, I can get the actual grip, and I can just kind of slide this over, which is hard to do when I'm trying to work around a camera. Okay, so I've also found out I actually needed to use the T-nut, which is what that is called apparently. That was supplied with the pistol grip. I thought they'd be universal, most are, but this one is not, and that's something I didn't remember from the last time that I owned one of these because it's been several years at the least. So now after much difficulty, I will finally be able to put this on, and unsurprisingly now it fits perfectly. This is a rather awkward position to hold it in, but I'm going to try to hold this in place. I might have to do it off camera, but I'm going to try to have to hold this in place, and then I'll take this and screw it in. You can't really see it because my hand will block it, but it'll have to go right in there in the same spot that the old one went. It's just this one's way shorter, and it'll not show on the bottom because it doesn't go all the way through. Alright, I've gotten this started. You can see it's sitting there now. Now I just need to tighten it down. So, post-installation, first and foremost, I definitely should have read the instructions. That would have saved me a lot of time and effort. Going along with that, I found out the T-nut that ATI provides is different. So if you get one of these yourself, you'll definitely want to make sure to swap out the T-nuts with the one provided. And that is, again, something I would have learned if I had read the instructions. I thought the installation was actually pretty difficult. I completely stripped out, I don't know if you noticed, but then the last bit of that footage there of me installing it, I was having a lot of difficulty trying to get the T-nut and the bolt screwed together, and that's because they were ever so slightly off angled. I gave up kind of on recording after that, but shortly after I was still working on it, just off camera, and I completely stripped the T-nut and bolt to the point of unusability. But luckily I still had the old T-nut and bolt from the tan set that I mentioned earlier. So I was able to use that, and with a bit of help from my father, I was able to actually get it installed. However, speaking of which, that entire process I would say is extremely difficult trying to do it with one person, because you have to take one hand and hold the T-nut in place, and also make sure that it's at the correct angle on both sides, but especially on the bolt side. You got to make sure they're going in at the right angle, or they will strip out, or you just won't get them in and you'll waste a lot of time. For me, I actually ended up wasting about 2 hours of my time trying to get this installed, which was ridiculous. This should have taken 5 to 10 minutes at most. Next, I'm going to take this to the range, try shooting a few rounds with it, and I'll give my conclusions on how it feels and anything else that might come up when I get back. You might be wondering why I'm wearing a mask. You might even be wanting to make a comment about it. If you want to, you can, but it was really cold at the range, and I felt like I had to put this disclaimer in here, because otherwise I'd be looking real weird, and there would be no explanation for it. To keep things organized, I'm going to break this conclusion section into 3 distinct parts: installation, function, and form. So I'll start again going back to the installation. As I mentioned earlier in the post-installation section, it was very, very difficult to install. But once you get it installed, it's not really an issue anymore. Moving on to function, I would say it was very comfortable. It has a slightly different grip angle than a normal AK grip. It is longer than a standard grip, and it is just larger overall in every way. Next is the form, or the aesthetic section. I think this pistol grip looks good. It's kind of reminiscent of an AK-12 pistol grip, which is partially why I chose this specific pistol grip over other ones. And the color matches with the rest of the gun, which is a problem I had with the old tan one, which is the entire reason why I had gotten rid of it. In closing, thank you for watching this video. I do plan on creating more of these videos, but it is going to be a while because all these parts are pretty expensive. I think this is the only part that is under $100 probably. So the rest will take quite a while. There is absolutely no guarantee for when that'll be. It could take years, who knows. But regardless of how long it takes, I will see you all in the next one.